there. My name is Heidi Suhrheinrich from the Paducah Cooperative Ministry, and I'm happy to welcome you today to Reflections. Today we are sponsoring a program regarding hunger relief programs in Western Kentucky. With me today, I'm very pleased to have some guests. I have Trina Ragan, who is our Emergency Services Coordinator at Paducah Cooperative Ministry, and I have Pam Truitt, who is the Executive Director of Family Service Society. Welcome, Pam.
Thank you.
And I have Clay Black, who is the Commodity and Food Bank Coordinator for the Purchase Area Development District. That's a mouthful.
Yes.
And I muffed it. I'm sorry about
That's
that.
okay.
I am so glad that you guys are here with us today. And I know that each one of you work daily in the area of hunger relief and getting food to the people who need it most. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Down at PCM, we have a mission that's a motto, if you will, that's doing God's work with human hands. And that's exactly what you guys are doing. And doing God's work with human hands is something that anybody can do. It is really just serving our neighbor. It is responding to needs, bringing together individuals and resources to reply to that, to respond. And sometimes people are a little bit surprised to find out that we have hunger issues in Western Kentucky. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit today too. Pam, I'd like to start with you, if you don't mind. Tell us a little bit about the Family Service Society, and then how a hunger relief program fits into what all you do every day.
Sure, okay. Family Service Society, we are a local agency. We are a United Way partner agency. Okay. We help with food through a food bank that we receive food through the Purchase Area Development District, as well as food through food drives. I started as executive director there about 5 years ago, and I can remember thinking, well, the food part probably, we wouldn't be serving that many people through it, because I just really didn't know how much hunger existed. And I was really taken aback whenever I saw the need in our community. And I think so many people are not aware of that. When people who have low income, sometimes they are making a choice between food and paying medications or paying gas for the car to get to work.
It's a terrible choice to make.
It is. So I was really surprised by the number of people that we were serving through our agency.
Okay. Can you give us some ideas monthly? How many
Sure.
folks are coming to you for food assistance?
We typically have about, on average, 185 households that we serve per month. Okay. And that's around 400 individuals per month that we serve. Now, of course, those are estimates and averages over about a 4-month period.
Right.
Of course, we've been seeing that number go up.
Have you?
I think the reason why that number is going up is, when the price of gas increases,
right,
that causes prices to increase in the grocery stores.
Right.
So I think other supplemental benefit programs such as SNAP benefits, or also known as food stamps, those don't go as far, so
right,
people have to supplement. We also see a large need in the summertime. If you think about children who receive lunches and breakfast at school, in the summertime, those households are having to provide those meals for them. So we really see an increase in the summertime. And that typically is when donations go down too. I think sometimes people don't think about donating in the summertime. We're busy with vacations. And I think really when people think most about when to donate is around the holiday season, Thanksgiving and Christmas. And the truth is we need that help year round.
That's exactly right. Thank you. Trina, how does that compare with our experiences here at Paducah Cooperative Ministry?
There are a lot of comparisons. As you mentioned, we're a ministry and we work with individuals and local congregations, and that is where we receive a lot of our donations. As Pam mentioned about the need, I did not realize that we had such a need either. I would say there's probably on the average of 500 households that we serve.
Wow.
So the need is extreme in McCracken County.
Right, right. Theories on why that is?
I think I'm seeing a lot of more unemployment come through.
Okay. All right. And I think, Pam, we would agree with you down at PCM that summertime is a really tough time. We are just blessed in abundance at the holidays.
Right.
And we try and make that last. We try and stretch that out as long as we can, don't we?
Right.
But when the kids get home from school for the summer months, that unfortunately is often the times when our shelves are starting to look a little bare.
Right.
So it's a little bit of a scary time there.
Right.
Now, where does the food come from, ladies, that you put on your shelves?
We, like PCM, receive food through Christmas in the Park. So if anyone went through Christmas in the Park and donated canned items or any kind of non-perishable items, we got, Family Service Society received a third of those donations. So that really gets us through the winter months and on into the spring.
Right.
And so we have an abundance during that time, and we try to stretch it, just as you said. But then we struggle through the summer months. Also, Groceries for Good. The Paducah Sun sponsors the Groceries for Good food drive in November, and then Super Value does the Groceries for Good all year long. And so the food pantries in Paducah, or agencies who distribute food items, they will rotate once a month through Super Value, where they can receive donations at the register, and that helps tremendously as well.
Help, isn't that? I think that the awareness is growing of the need year-round, and people are beginning to respond. Trina, how about at PCM? When someone comes to you and says, "Trina, I need some assistance with food," talk us through the process. What questions do you ask? What are our eligibility requirements? And then what are they going to receive?
Right, well, I usually do a little intaker assessment on the need of the family. The size of the family is very important. We provide a 3 to 4 day supply of groceries based on the size of the family, and those donations will come from the government commodities, as well as donated non-perishable items, and then we have local restaurants that donate to us as well. The income requirements, just an example would be for a one-person household, the income would need to be below $12.45 a month.
And what do they need to bring into you?
They would need to bring their ID, a social security card for everyone in the household, and proof that they're a McCracken County resident.
Okay, okay. Clay, I want to get to you here in just a minute and talk about the reason why we get to see you once a month and all of the good things that you help us to do. But just a quick question that I want to ask you all. The types of food that you need. What is important to have in the food pantry? Are there certain things that you want to make sure you always have? I know that we tend to get a great deal of green beans and corn from the Christmas lights in the park. Pretty much a year's supply, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
And so I think that's everybody's favorite vegetable in Western Kentucky, and we're glad to have it. But we need to round that out a little bit. So what else needs to come in? What do we need to have to be able to give somebody a nutritious 4-day supply of groceries?
Well, we typically like to get things such as peanut butter, pasta, rice, those type of things, because we feel that those can be accompanied with other things in the pantry to make full meals. Plus the peanut butter, it's more nutritious, and so we're just hoping to add more nutritional value to those groceries that we're giving.
Right. Trina, anything
and
you would add?
I would second what Pam says. We also, macaroni and cheese is a big one.
Who doesn't like macaroni and cheese?
Tuna and tuna helper, those are really big items that we use and we always need as well. As she mentioned, spaghetti and spaghetti sauce, those are easy meals, and you can cook a lot and use it often, so that is very helpful too. Canned fruits.
We want to make sure that we're actually providing meals.
Yes.
And so tuna helper, that makes sense. Spaghetti sauce, that makes sense. Peanut butter, you know, it's really important that folks are getting protein items. So I think that sounds good.
Your proteins, your starches, your carbohydrates.
Right.
They have to be addressed, and so often meat's not always present.
Right. And one thing that needs to be considered is cooking skills. And, you know, folks may not have excellent cooking skills. They may not have the pots and pans that they
may not
need. They
have
may not have a
gas
working
or-
stove. They may
correct.
only have a microwave.
May not have a refrigerator.
Exactly. So all of these things have to be taken into consideration as well. Clay, let's turn to you for a few minutes and talk to you about, first of all, what is the Purchase Area Development District? And we sometimes call it the PAD.
Yes.
PADD. What is that?
The PAD is an acronym for it, the Purchase Area Development District. We're a regional planning organization, and we're also a certified SBA development corporation. We help both city and county governments, as well as businesses and individuals throughout the 8 counties of the Purchase, which is Ballard, Callaway, Carlisle, Fulton, Graves, Hickman, Marshall, and McCracken counties.
Okay.
But the different programs that the PAD does is way too many to
Really?
go in and list out today, so we'll try and focus strictly on the
Food
food
is a
bank
part of that.
food bank program.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Tell us about, as the commodity and food bank coordinator, what does that entail?
Many different things. We service 37 agencies within the 8 counties. Agencies being food pantries,
Right.
need lines, and soup kitchens. And we even have domestic violence organizations falling into that realm as well. We service these 37 agencies with 2 government commodity programs, and then our food bank or Feeding America program. The first commodity program would be CSFP, which is an acronym for Commodity and Supplemental Food Program. Some people refer to it as the cheese program. It services seniors age 60 and above, pregnant, breastfeeding, postpartum.
Not 60 and above, right?
No, there's plus.
Okay.
60 and above plus. The pregnant, breastfeeding, postpartum up to 6 months, and children up to 6 years of age,
Okay.
with a prepackaged set of food that covers the basic categories. There's the proteins, the cereals, dairy, meat, juice, vegetables, and fruits. Then we have the Emergency Food Assistance Program, acronym of TFAP.
Okay.
And it is an all-age program that's designed to meet or help feed the needy Kentuckians. This program differs in the fact that it's not a preset package of food. What we have available to distribute varies. Right now we're dealing with frozen meats. We've distributed 100,000 pounds since December in frozen meats through this program. Now we have in McCracken County, and we'll back up 1 minute, I've meant to mention, we have 2 CSFP agencies in McCracken County, one being Paducah Cooperative Ministries, the other being Highland Baptist Church. TFAP, we have multiple. We have PCM, Family Service Society, Highland Baptist Church, River City Mission, and Salvation Army, and Trinity Baptist Church. They offer the TFAP programs. And if someone's on the CSFP program, they also can receive the TFAP commodities as well.
Okay.
They just can't get from multiple agencies. There are restrictions there. But probably one of the more involved manpower, costs, etc. Programs we have is our Feeding America, our food pantry program. We have to give a big shout out to Walmart, Sam's Club of Paducah, and Kroger grocery stores in the purchase area. Thus far this year, they've donated over 500,000 pounds of food to our program, of which over 136,000 pounds has come into McCracken County. We have a total of 9 agencies in McCracken County that take part in this program. It gets fresh fruits and vegetables, frozen meats, bakery goods, both cakes, pies, as well as bread, and then shelf-stable dry goods. And these products are able to supplement the government programs because, as I said, with TFAP, what's available there fluctuates.
Right.
So these pantries and soup kitchens and need lines can take this product and supplement it.
Okay.
So that they're getting more.
3 different programs that you're coordinating to help get the food out to 37 different pantries in the purchase area.
Right.
One is looking at some of the most vulnerable people in our population, the elderly and those with the very, very young children, and that's the nutritional supplementation. That's wonderful.
Yes.
We work with that program, as you said, and we see the folks that come in every month, and you can tell that this is a really, really important program to them.
And we don't deal directly with the public through the PAD office for food
So
distribution.
nobody comes to your door
They
and
do not
says, I
come-
need food assistance.
Right. If they come to us, we are finding out where they live, and we're referring them out to a pantry in their area. You know, on an annual basis, we distribute in the 8 counties about 2.5 million pounds.
That's hard to picture, isn't it, ladies?
A third of that comes from Walmart, Sam's, and Kroger. They're a major part of what we do, and we couldn't touch the lives to the degree we do without them. And they are a blessing.
Well, that's huge, and I know that you are seeing a lot of numbers and you are helping a lot of people, and with very, very good stuff. But let me ask you this. This might be a question that some folks watching this program would have. Are we encouraging dependency? Is there genuine need? Are there people who are taking advantage of this program that should not? What are the checks and balances that we have to make sure that, for example, they don't get government commodities more than once in a month period anywhere? How do we track all this?
Well, that's a good question. We utilize a program called Charity Tracker, which is internet-based, and when someone comes into a pantry and they have to sign in, and show, you know, proof of ID and all, the pantries then log into Charity Tracker, enter the person in, and it registers that they've received for that month.
Okay.
If they go pantry hopping, so to speak, and go to another pantry within the same month, they enter them in.
Up.
I'm sorry, you've already received the commodity this month. And that's as it applies to the 2 government commodity programs.
And we've been using that program since 2010. And prior to that, there was no way for us to communicate with other agencies. And so there were people who were double and triple dipping. But now we can coordinate those resources, and it helps us keep onto those resources and stretch them farther too.
Right, and get it to the people that really need it the most.
Yes,
right.
yes.
Right.
And from time to time we'll catch somebody driving from 3 counties away and thinking, you know, I know how to do this.
That's a lot of gas.
That's my point exactly. If they can afford $4 gas and drive that far, going past multiple food pantries in the process,
Right.
you know, it's a good system, and it's working. As she said, we
Making a
don't
difference.
get that many cases anymore.
Right,
good.
and I
At
would
first.
like to say, sometimes people do not realize that they can't, that they're not allowed to do that. So sometimes it just requires a little bit of education.
Yeah.
To,
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
they're not
right.
doing it with intent.
Right, and it's hard to keep the different programs straight.
It is.
So we've got the food that you are providing through those 3 programs, and then we also have the community element that makes such difference. Trina, you mentioned restaurants, and we've talked about congregations, and we've talked about Christmas lights in the park. I'm reminded of a patchwork quilt or a stained glass window where you have all of these different components, and by itself that one component couldn't make the full picture, but when it's added with all the others, it makes a great picture. I know in the summertime we are always really blessed to receive the fruits, literally, of people's gardening efforts, and so we may have a boatload of squash coming in, or an abundance of tomatoes,
And we love that.
isn't that
And
wonderful?
the people who
So y'all with those
participate-
zucchini squashes, you know, that
Absolutely.
are crowding out of your kitchen.
And the people who are
bring 'em
participating,
down.
they love to get that fresh
Yes.
produce
Well-
too.
Yes, it makes a big difference when
The-
you're used to canned goods all the time.
The PAD office is a member of the Kentucky Association of Food Banks, which sponsors through a grant from Walmart the Farms to Food Banks program. It buys produce, grade 1 and 2, that would be excess for the produce farmers that might go to waste that they can't. It might have a small blemish because it's not just perfect in shape and such, or they just couldn't sell it all at market, and now they've got to do something with it. So at a just below market price, they're buying from Kentucky producers or Kentucky produce farmers.
Right.
And then through the food banks such as the PAD office, we're distributing it out to PCM, to Family Service, at no cost. So we're getting, last year alone, over 20,000 pounds of fresh produce during the growing season.
Excellent. It takes a lot of people working together to make this work to reach the folks that need it most.
Well,
And-
they always said it takes a community to raise a child. That same theory applies to
Right.
helping the hungry.
Exactly, exactly. Well, Trina, talk to me a little bit about how does your faith enter into this, and what brought you to this job, to this position, to this calling? What do you love about what you do?
Well, I have a social work background, and I just love helping people. This job is so rewarding. You see people that are so thankful for any assistance that you can provide whatsoever, and you feel like you truly make a difference. You become a friend to the faces that walk through the door, you know, and you understand what they're going through in their lives and what's going on.
Okay, how about you, Pam? What brought you to this mission field?
Well, I actually was working in a nonprofit agency prior to this, Easter Seals, West Kentucky, and someone that I go to church with said, "Did you know that they are looking for an executive director at Family Service Society? Do you know anyone who might be interested?" And I said, "No, I can't think of anybody." And then, and then wow, I ended up there. But I would agree with Trina. You're exactly right. It is a calling, and you know, we are given resources to be able to help people. And you're exactly right. You know, we are doing God's work with human hands, and our community is very generous to us. When they know that there's a need and we express what that need is, then there's always someone that wants to step up to help you fill that need. And you know, we've just seen so much need in the last few years, and so that's what brought me to Family Service Society.
We don't like the idea that there could be anybody in our region that goes hungry.
Right.
I know that they've got programs for children in schools, the backpack program. We're trying to cover as many bases as we can to ensure that that does not happen.
And it exists.
It
you know,
does, it
we hear
does.
stories of people who come in who, you know, I needed to pay $1,000 to get the transmission fixed in my car. If I
So I
can't
could get to work.
So I can get to work.
Yeah.
But that $1,000 is also going to keep me from feeding my family this month,
Right.
or paying my utility bill, or whatever else that money was intended for to help them through the month.
Right.
So, you know, we see things like that happen, and it's not just, I think sometimes people think it's just people who don't want to help themselves, but that's not always the case.
Right. There's a lot of folks just really living on that knife's edge, aren't there?
Absolutely.
And all it takes is one little thing. Somebody got sick with the flu
Sure.
and couldn't make it to work for 3 or 4 days. So, you know, that's 3 or 4 days worth of wages that the household will not have.
Right.
And, it's reflected. Okay. Trina, anybody touch your heart that you've met that's come through and asked you for assistance? I know you must hear awful lot of stories.
I do hear a lot of stories. I would like to tell one story about some donations that we recently received from St. Mary's first grade class. They had taken up some donations. Every student was bringing in macaroni and cheese, and they were setting the boxes up like a domino effect. And the kids got so involved in that, that they're doing it again this month with cereal. So our need in our pantry is huge, and everything helps, and it was just nice to see community involvement with small children.
Well, there's fun ways to do it, and when we get our
Absolutely.
children involved, then we are instilling a sense of responsibility that we hope will carry over into adulthood, that it will always just be a part of their lives to be contributing and for caring for those. So if I understand you correctly, they were collecting macaroni and cheese and setting it down the hallway like dominoes?
Yes, and then someone was knocking it over, and they were seeing how far they could go down, and they had a lot of fun with that. And, I
And
think
so
that was
much fun
great.
that they decided to do cereal next time.
Exactly, yeah.
I want to go see this happen, don't you?
Yes.
I love it when people get excited about helping. When they have competitions within Sunday school classes, when they try and create, you know, a mountain of tuna, or the construction that Heath High School does every year out on the football field. You know, the kids bring in the cans, and the different clubs create sculptures out of them, you know, and they get a prize for the best sculpture, and then we win. You know,
Yes,
because we're
right.
able to pass that along and share it with everybody, and it makes it fun, and it brings an awareness to it. You guys do a wonderful, wonderful job. I know it's not easy. It must be very frustrating for you, Clay, to coordinate all of that, the trucks coming in and who's going to get how much, and mathematical formulas for, you know, how you break that up 37 ways. And Pam and Trina, you know, I know that you are working in a difficult spot as well, but with so much compassion. And I really appreciate the work that you do. And I just want the community to know that we've got some really great things going on, and they're a part of it. What they do matters, it makes a difference, and anybody can help. Anybody can do God's work with human hands, and it takes all forms, it all matters. But we've come to the end of our program today, and I thank you so much for being with us. I thank you, Pam and Trina and Clay, for being here to talk about food. And just remember that, you know, even a box of macaroni and cheese or a can of tuna fish can make a difference to somebody. I'm Heidi Suhrheinrich from Paducah Cooperative Ministry for Reflections, and please join us again next time.
In mission.